Well, let's move into this topic then about players and COVID-19 and how some players might have considered retirement before, but now they're getting a taster of what it's like, and they might be reconsidering. Whereas there are some players who are a little bit older, and we're not 100% sure what time or when anyone is going to get back playing. So this might effectively retire them, Fintan.
Yeah, it was just then, I suppose initially when the kind of shutdown of GA action happened, say before Paddy's weekend, people probably thought at the time it's only going to be a short term. But, the realisation has kind of sunk in for a lot that 2020 is, the chances are high that it is a GA season will have to be written off. So I guess it's just interesting to think of the longer serving players, how will that kind of affect their decision making for 2021. I mean, there was an article I was reading a couple of weeks ago, can't remember where it was now, but it was just basically making the point that, say, the Dublin Mayo game from last August, the 2019 All-Ireland semi-final, that those two squads in particular, which have come to kind of define the last Gaelic football decade with all their games, it's kind of unlikely, like there's only maybe a couple of players like Bernard Brogan, Onagar and Andy Moore have retired since then, but like say they won't meet against the 2021, you'd have to think the makeup of the sides are going to be very, very different, and it's just, I mean, it's just a difficult decision for a lot of guys. I mean, I suppose it depends on what's going on off the pitch for them, injuries and that kind of stuff. But you just wonder which way will it go for them. This kind of bout of inactivity, will they kind of decide, look, that's it. I'll just bow out now, and probably be a very strange circumstances for them to bow out. When they think that, usually some guys make the decision straight after a championship match in their own head. That's it, I'm gone. The guys that kind of make it in the dead of winter probably have an idea when a campaign ends that they're probably going to finish up. Some make it in the dressing room, but there is that sense of finality to it, isn't it? That you're wrapping up an inter-county career. This would probably be one of the strangest kind of circumstances for a lot of them to try and finish up, if that's the decision that they arrive at.
I remember age 33, so that's a few years ago now, I decided that I was going to retire from GA and go off travelling for a while. So I went away for 3 or 4 months, and I ultimately came back and stayed playing, and then that's when we started to win a few medals. But that time that I was away, so I went from age 33, I'm going to retire, to now a few years on, I still don't know when I'm going to retire, and it's possibly down to that same thing of getting a taster of it. Michael Verney, any thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, just disappointed that you didn't release a statement, be it through the GPA or through the Club Players Association at the time. Listen, the likes of, would say, Stephen Cluxton, who was rehabbing and would have only been coming back in March and April. Like, it maybe, like, I'm not saying he was even thinking about retirement, but it does buy a lot of lads a lot of time to, would say, rest the bodies, go off and do some yoga, Pilates, get your body back in shape, rehab injuries, lads that were playing games to game, week on week, throughout the league maybe, and their bodies were tired. It's a chance to recharge and regenerate. Maybe they'll all be able to go again. The fact, like people talk about when they retire, and missing the training session, missing the contact, missing people, missing everything. Like, they're missing that now. Fair enough, they're doing Zoom sessions and different things like that, but they're missing that now, and they're getting a fair taster of what retirement is like. There's a lot of people who really struggle with retirement, particularly in the GA, in any code really. And like, if you were thinking about it, but you can get your body back in good shape during this time, I'd imagine it would put those thoughts on the back burner. And I'd imagine there are very few lads or ladies that want to be retired because of a pandemic. They'll want to retire. Everybody wants to retire on their own behalf. So they don't want to be retired by an injury, and they won't want to be retired by this either. So I'd be surprised if there's just say if we don't see a championship this year, I'd be surprised if many step away, even though it's an extra year, and we've talked about this, Shane, in another show. I'm not going to reveal your age live to the national audience, but I'm 33 anyway, and every year is another year. It's probably another year where the legs get a bit slower and you get more aches and pains. And like, I'm thinking 2020, yeah, I'm tunnel vision for 2020. Now maybe it's 2021, but I'm still thinking in my head, while I might slow down, I'll just change and I'll just adapt and try and push it forward for another year and get another year or two. I'm sure there's a lot of people in that situation as well. Kieran Fitzgerald, it was interesting to see, nothing to do with COVID due to his retirement from club action. He just had the best innings of all time. And I'd say he realised now was as good a time to go out as ever, particularly in the position he was playing in. But it will affect different lads in different ways.
I saw a tweet from Darren O'Sullivan actually, and he kind of summed it up nicely. He said, this was going to be my last year playing football. but seeing what life is like without sport, I don't think I'll ever retire. Whether you want me or not, Glencar, you're stuck with me. Have you seen this with other players so far, Fintan?
Yeah, like I think it's probably getting to the time of year. You said Darren's case there in Kerry. April would have been a big month, it's kind of the club championship month. They kind of run it all off, and then I suppose like a lot of club players, they kind of face into kind of a long idle summer, depending on how the county gets on. But this is kind of a different type of inactivity, isn't it? That it's a complete shutdown. You don't even have kind of a couple of league games to kind of keep yourself ticking over. So I'd say there's a lot of club players kind of around the country that are in the same boat as him. So I think I kind of see what Michael's saying as well, that you'd say a lot of club players might have been maybe on the fence. You could see them kind of redoubling their efforts and kind of intentions with next year in mind. The Derby situation then is kind of different, because I suppose it's a further year on for some of the older kind of stagers, and will they kind of want to go again? The other kind of, I suppose, player I was kind of thinking of was, there was a good few BNJ players this year decided to opt out to go travelling. So you've seen situations like, say, Gary Brennan has talked about it, that he's obviously postponed his travelling plans. Michael Quinlan and Tipperary, he came home in the middle of this, kind of at the end of March. So I suppose it's a natural thing for a lot of guys these days to kind of want to get away after giving a good few years to the county and a lot of kind of service. But you wonder then, like, there's probably no real answer to this. Like, but will they think they're going away again next year? Will they kind of not be involved? All these kind of outside factors. Managers is probably the other one, isn't it? That, like, we often kind of hear about the kind of effort the players put in at the county, training sessions and matches and all that, but then you hear that a manager could, the amount of, I suppose, calls and kind of preparation that he has to make for, say, one single training session. There's different guys who started, this was their first year as county managers, but then there's others who will probably coming to the end of their terms, depending on what's going on, their kind of work and family life, whether they'll have the appetite to kind of go again in 2021, if that's the kind of next proper kind of full season that we're looking at.